Hey guys, welcome. In this video we will learn about the various interview questions for Sybase database. So let's get started. First question: what are the different data types in Sybase? And the answer is numeric, int, smallint, float, character, char, varchar, date time, date, time, binary, var-binary, bit, money, text, image. For example, declaring a variable. Declare its salary money. Next question: explain the difference between delete and truncate statements. And the answer is both. Remove data from a table. Delete removes rows one by one and is logged. Truncate removes all rows at once. Deallocates space. And is not logged. For example, delete from employees where department equals sales. Versus truncate table products. Next question: what is the purpose of the set row count option in Sybase? And the answer is limits the number of rows affected by subsequent select, insert, update, or delete statements. For example, set row count 10. Select asterisk from employees. Fetches only the first 10 rows. Next question: how do you implement full outer join functionality in Sybase? As it's not directly supported? And the answer is a combination of left join, right join, and union to achieve the same result. For example, select asterisk from a left join B on a id equals b.id union. Select asterisk from a right join B on a id equals b.id. Next question: what are the different isolation levels in Sybase and how do they affect concurrency? Control? And the answer is read uncommitted, read committed, repeatable read, serializable. They control how transactions interact with each other to prevent data inconsistencies. Higher isolation levels provide stricter concurrency control but can lead to more blocking and deadlocks. For example, choosing serializable isolation level ensures transactions are processed one after another, preventing dirty reads, non-repeatable reads, and phantom reads, but may impact performance due to increased locking. Next question: what are stored procedures and triggers in Sybase? Explain their differences and use cases. And the answer is both are precompiled SQL code blocks, stored and executed on the database server. Stored procedures are explicitly called, accept input parameters, and can return values. Triggers are automatically invoked based on DML events. Insert, update, delete, on a specific table. For example, a stored procedure to calculate employee bonuses based on input parameters versus a trigger to automatically update the stock level after a sale. Next question: what are the different types of indexes in Sybase and when should each be used? And the answer is clustered, non-clustered, composite, unique. The choice depends on the data distribution, query patterns, and performance requirements. For example, using a clustered index on the primary key for faster data retrieval by primary key value versus a non-clustered index on frequently used search columns to improve query performance. Next question: what is the difference between local and global variables in Sybase T-SQL? And the answer is local variables are declared within a batch or procedure and are only visible within that scope. Global variables are defined at the server level and are accessible to all users and connections. For example, declare at local_var int, local, versus at server name, global. Next question: explain the purpose and syntax of the case statement in Sybase T-SQL. And the answer is provides conditional logic within SQL statements, similar to if-else constructs in other programming languages. For example, select name, case department when sales, then selling else, other, and as job_type from employees. Next question: what are the different types of errors in Sybase T-SQL and how are they handled? And the answer is syntax errors, Runtime errors. Logical errors. Errors are typically handled using error handling mechanisms like try-catch blocks or checking the at error global variable. For example, catching a divide by zero error within a try-catch block and logging the error message. Next question: describe the purpose and usage of the while loop in Sybase T-SQL, and the answer is allows repetitive execution of a code block based on a condition, typically used for iterating through datasets. For example, using a while loop to iterate through a table and update employee salaries based on their performance ratings. Next question: what are temporary tables in Sybase and how are they different from permanent tables? And the answer is temporary tables are created within a session or global scope and are automatically dropped when the session ends or when explicitly dropped. They are used for storing temporary result sets or intermediate data during complex operations. Unlike permanent tables, they are not part of the database schema and are not visible to other users. For example, creating a temporary table to store customer order data during a report generation process. Next question: what are the different methods of backing up and restoring a Sybase database? And the answer is online backup, using dump or backup, offline backup, copying database files, and log backups, using dump transaction. Restoration involves using the corresponding load or restore commands, for example, performing an online backup using dump database command while the database is active. Next question: how do you monitor the performance of a Sybase database? And the answer is system tables, system procedures, performance monitor tools, and database profiler to track metrics like CPU usage, memory consumption, query performance, locking, and transaction log activity. For example, using the SP_sysmin system procedure to monitor system performance metrics at regular intervals. Next question: explain the concept of transaction log in Sybase and its importance. And the answer is a record of all data modifications, insert, update, delete, made to the database. It's crucial for crash recovery, point-in-time recovery, and maintaining data consistency. For example, in case of a system crash, the transaction log is used to roll back incomplete transactions and recover the database to a consistent state. Next question: what are the different user roles and permissions in Sybase? How do you manage user accounts and privileges? And the answer is database owner, DBO, database administrator, DBA, and user-defined roles with specific permissions assigned. Users and roles are managed using SQL statements like create user, grant, revoke, and administrative tools. For example, granting select permission on a specific table to a specific user role. Next question: describe the process of replicating data from one Sybase database to another, and the answer is involves setting up a replication server, defining replication definitions, and configuring log transfer and data propagation mechanisms. Different replication methods are available, including snapshot replication, transactional replication, and merge replication. For example, setting up a transactional replication scenario to propagate real-time data changes from a primary database server to a secondary server for high availability. Next question: what are some common techniques for optimizing Sybase SQL queries? And the answer is appropriate indexes. Avoid wildcard characters. In like clauses. Optimize join operations. Limit the amount of data retrieved. Use stored procedures. And utilize query hints where necessary. For example, adding an index on the joining columns to improve the performance of a frequently used join query. Next question: explain the purpose and benefits of using the set nocount on statement in Sybase T-SQL. And the answer is suppresses the message indicating the number of rows affected by a statement, reducing network traffic and improving performance, especially in loops and stored procedures. For example, using setnocount on inside a stored procedure to prevent the message, one row affected, from being sent to the client for every row updated. Next question: what is fragmentation in Sybase and how can it affect database performance? And the answer is occurs when data within a table or index is not stored contiguously, leading to increased disk I/O and reduced query performance. Regular index and table maintenance tasks like reorg and update statistics can help mitigate fragmentation. For example, running the reorg rebuild command to defragment a highly fragmented table and improve data access speed. Next question: how can you identify and resolve locking issues in Sybase? And the answer is USE system procedures like SP_lock, SP_who, and monitoring tools to identify blocked processes, lock types, and resource contention. Resolving locking issues might involve optimizing queries, adjusting isolation levels, or increasing lock timeouts. For example, analyzing the output of SP_who to identify processes holding locks and potentially causing blocking issues. Next question: describe the different caching mechanisms in Sybase and how they improve performance. And the answer is data cache, buffer cache, procedure cache, and execution plan cache. These caches store frequently accessed data, compiled code, and query plans, respectively, reducing the need to retrieve information from disk. For example, the procedure cache stores the compiled execution plan of a stored procedure, reducing the compilation overhead for subsequent executions. Next question: how does Sybase ensure database security? And the answer is access control mechanisms, user authentication, data encryption, auditing, and secure configuration practices. For example, using strong passwords, implementing least privilege principles, and enabling auditing to track data access and modifications. Next question: what is encryption in Sybase and how can it be implemented? And the answer is transforms data into an unreadable format to protect sensitive information from unauthorized access. Sybase supports column-level encryption using encryption keys managed by the database server. For example, encrypting the credit card number column in a customer table to protect sensitive data.